Let's take a look. So we are live on Twitch. Twitch always works good. Twitch is a great platform for live streaming. We like it. We're also live on my website, MMABettingTips.com. Are we? Yep, we're live on my website, MMABettingTips.com. And the third check, are we live on YouTube? YouTube's the one that is always a little bit temperamental. Are we live on the YouTubes? Twitch always. We are. Boom! Good to see everyone. Hope you're having a good day. In this live stream, we're going to be researching the fight between Mackenzie Dern and Nina Ansarov. Great to spend Tuesday evening with you. What's up, Joey, dude? Good to see you, mate. Great to spend Tuesday evening with everyone. So we're live across Twitch, YouTube, and the website. Let's get into it. So, where we have the odds at the moment, both girls in this even money territory, means that we're going to be scouting for an even money lab bet here. I thought this was a good fight to get into because we can see Ansarov's odds have started to decline in the last 24 hours, down from about 1.80 to around that 1.71 odds range. So if we take a look at the current odds here, we have got average odds on Ansarov, I guess about 1.73, which would be minus 137 for an implied probability of 58%. If we take a look at the odds on Dern, if you shop around average odds of about 2.20, which would be plus 120 for an implied probability of 45%. So roughly 60-40 in the eyes of the bookies in Ansarov's favour. But we do have some pretty notable X factors on this fight. Ah, she's changed her name. Has she changed her name? I think they got married, right? I think her and Amanda Nunes got married. So she's, if you look at up here at the top, Nina and Nunes. Not sure if you can see that. You might not be able to see that. Can you see that? Yeah, Nina and Nunes. So maybe we shouldn't even be calling her Ansaroff. I mean, for now we will. For now we will. Her name is Ansarov on Tapology and stuff. We'll just call her Ansaroff for now. Apologies if I'm pronouncing her name wrong though, and if she has changed her name now to Nunes. So here we go. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape. So Ansarov, 35 years old, which is obviously getting up there in age for a strawweight. Strawweight is one of the lighter weight classes, and so, in the lighter weight classes, it tends to be a little bit more unforgiving as you start to get older. The lighter weight classes are, young people's divisions. So the fact that Ansarov is up in that 35-year-old odds range, not good. Nina, I'm not saying you're old. I'm 37 years old myself. But for a female strawweight, 35 years old is quite old. She's 5'5" with a 65-inch reach. Mackenzie Dern, obviously very young in her UFC career, 28 years old, 5'4" with a 63-inch reach. So both girls about the same size. But Mackenzie Dern is 7 years younger, which is very notable. The younger fighter wins around 67% of the time when there's a 7-year age gap in a fight. So that is pretty notable. So that's one major X factor here. Dern's age, big X factor. Second X factor, the fact that this is going to be, how do we even set this up? I don't want to get cancelled, right? I don't want to get cancelled. My wife said, earlier on, I was talking to my wife about my website, MMABettingTips.com. You see Matern here. Matern's been doing some amazing work for me on MMA Betting Tips, which I won't show you, but he's been doing amazing work on the lab, which is hopefully going to help us all earn a hell of a lot more cash pretty soon. So Matern's been doing some great work, and earlier on, as part of the work we're doing on the lab, I was talking to my wife about how female fighters often struggle pretty bad after giving birth to a baby, because obviously, when you have a baby, it changes your body forever. You know what I mean? And what you really notice if you go back in time, if you look at female fighters who have had a baby, in their next 1 or 2 fights after having a baby, they're just not the same. They're much slower, they're much flatter. For whatever reason, they just don't perform as well. Now, sometimes they get that back. You know, sometimes they get it back after 3 or 4 fights. They go back to how they were before they had a baby, or even better than before. A good example of this would be Alexis Davis. If you go take a look at Alexis Davis in her fight immediately after having a baby against Cindy Dandois, very flat, very slow, looked a shadow of herself. But then slowly, she basically got back to the same level of athleticism we saw from her before having a baby. Then you've got outliers like Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern had a baby and she came back and looked better than ever before. But as a general rule, if you go back through, you know, the history of MMA, when female fighters have a baby, it does take them a little while to get that speed and athleticism back. And obviously, you know, we talk every single week about how age and father time has a significant impact on fighters' athletic ability. And so obviously, you would expect it, you know, a young athlete, you know, Dern was 26 years old when she had a baby, to perhaps bounce back a lot easier than Ansarov, who would have been 34, 35 when she had a baby. So this is a major X factor to take into consideration. Please don't cancel me. Please don't think I'm a Neanderthal. Please don't think I'm some dick. You know, at the end of the day, I make a living from betting on MMA. It's my job to talk about this stuff. It's my job to consider stuff like this. And history tells us that the version of Ansarov we may get this weekend is probably not going to look as good as the version of Ansarov that we've seen in the past. And, you know, even aside from the physical changes Ansarov may have gone through with her body, obviously having a baby, you know, can disrupt your sleep cycle. You know, we see her there feeding her baby in the cage at American Top Team. You know, life becomes a lot harder, right? I've got a 12-year-old son. Life gets a lot harder when you have a kid. Doesn't matter if you're, you know, a father, a mother, gets a lot harder. So that's a big X factor to take into consideration in this one. Big factor, and you can see that with Amanda Nunes and Nina Ansarov both training at American Top Team. The baby seems to be in the gym quite often, which could obviously be a distraction for the training as well. So just need to point that out. What I do need to check is when she actually had the baby. I remember when Mackenzie Dern had her baby, we were talking about how it was a bit of a risk how Mackenzie came back quite soon after giving birth. She looked absolutely phenomenal though. Has shown massive improvements in a really short space of time. But obviously the faster you rush back, the obviously the less time you have to to recover essentially. And so we're seeing here 27 weeks ago, September 25th. So she did give birth around about September, which it looks like she may have done, because she goes from pregnancy photos on Instagram here to post-pregnancy photos here in October time, a month later. So yeah, it would indicate that she did give birth in September time, which was only 6 months ago. That's a fast turnaround time. That is a very, very fast turnaround time. Ansarov is a phenomenal athlete, very fast, very athletic. She's got a great gas tank, but 6 months, that is quick. That is a quick turnaround time. You know, if you imagine, you know, the way I would compare it is ultimately, you know, every week when we study these fights, we're just looking at X factors that could have an effect on the outcome of a matchup, right? At the end of the day, you know, we'd be talking about injuries, bad knockouts in the same context, right? We'd be looking at what level of trauma the body has gone through, be it a very bad knockout or a fighter blowing their knee out in a fight, or, you know, maybe a fighter breaking their jaw or something, and then how much time the body's had to recover to get back in, you know, tip-top 100% shape. 6 months, is rough. Six months is not a lot of time. So that's a big X factor for me coming into this one. Obviously, Mackenzie Dern is one of these fighters making huge improvements from fight to fight. Massive improvement. She's improving very quickly in a short space of time. And like I say, she is the outlier. She definitely wasn't affected by having a child. She has looked better than ever. That mama bear energy is fueling her into making exponential gains from fight to fight. And one thing that I did see from Mackenzie Dern, which I really liked in her last fight against Verna Jandiroba, was that for the first time, I guess, in Mackenzie Dern's career, we actually saw her take a lot of damage. I know that she struggled quite bad against Amanda Ribas, but in that second round against Jandiroba, she had her nose crushed. She even spoke in the post-fight interview about how it threw her off and how, she'd never been through anything like that before and how she had to dig deep and come through in that third round. So for me, even though Dern did struggle a bit against Verna Jandiroba, it was a little bit of a coming out party for Dern where we learnt a good amount about her, and we learnt that, if you do put her in bad positions, if she does get hurt, she's not one of these fighters that's going to, fade mentally or look for a way out. She's one of these fighters that's going to bite down on her mouthpiece, come back stronger, and look to give her opponent hell. So, those are kind of like all the X factors I would talk about. I think that with Dern coming through that adversity against Verna Jandiroba, she's likely to take a lot of confidence from that. And it will be interesting to see how much she's improved against Ansarov. And she's going to need to have improved against Ansarov because obviously Ansarov's no picnic. Very difficult to take down. Very high level striker in the context of the strawweight division. And Ansarov's no picnic for anyone, right? Ansarov definitely no picnic. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's catch up on some comments. Matern is also bringing up another really good point here. Ansarov's coming into the fight on a long layoff. So she's 35 years old and she hasn't competed in almost 2 years. So that's another X factor into the mix, right? Ring rust, baby, age. Big X factors, which I would definitely consider to be red flags for Ansarov. Okay, let's catch up on the comments. What's up, everyone? What's up, Hiltz? What's up, Matern? What's up, Joey? Let's go through YouTube. What's up, TNN? What's up, HLB? What's up, Taz? What's up, Azbak? What's up, Mark? Good to see you, mate. What's up, Bunny Killer? What's up, Lawrence? What's up, Parlons? So Bunny Killer is saying that this fight is cancelled. If it's not, I'm just going to ban him because he's wasting my time. But I do need to check because obviously COVID doing crazy things these days. So if the fight is cancelled, thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. If it's not cancelled, go away because we're trying to do work here. And we don't really have time to fuck around. Like, if you're not going to be a grown-up and, come here to try and learn and, study footage together as a group collectively so, we can all kind of chip in and give our opinions on fights and look to learn from each other and ultimately make more money. If you're not here to do that, just go somewhere else. Does look like this fight is still on. And don't see anything there. So goodbye, Bunny Killer, and please never come back. Alright, there we go. Okay, so it seems from the chat that you guys are pretty divided on this one. Some people saying they're betting Dern, some people betting Ansarov. Parlon saying He's seen enough to know that Dern is a good bet. All right, cool. Let's get into it. What's up, Brett? Good to see you, dude. Let's go. And shout out to Matern as well for reminding us that Ansarov hasn't fought in a long ass time. 2 years, 35 years old, had a baby, a lot of red flags with Ansarov. But let's get into the footage. So the way this is going to work is, obviously I can't show you UFC footage on stream because Dana will sue my ass and YouTube will close me down even faster. So this works like a fight companion. I basically share the links with you to watch the fight. We all sync up the rounds together, watch the fight at the same time, and I kind of talk you through what I'm seeing. So I'll grab you the link right now for the first fight we're going to look at, which is going to be... We should probably start with Ansarov, right? It's been a long time since we all saw Ansarov, and the good news about Ansarov's last opponent, Tatiana Suarez, is that Suarez has obviously got much better offensive wrestling than Dern. So if Ansarov does a reasonably good job of keeping this fight standing, good chance Dern's really going to struggle to get the fight to the ground. So sync this one up for me, guys. Sync it up. Brown Don is saying Dern looks to be making big improvements while Ansarov is showing too many red flags with having a baby and lack of activity. Plus, if this goes to the ground, Ansarov could be in major trouble. Appleman saying Ansarov has to be the pick. How does Dern get it to the match? She has 5% takedown success. This is a legit stat, and Ansarov is much better standing. Yeah, I'm not sure if Dern will be the pick, but I'm not sure Ansarov will be a bet just because of those pretty major red flags. 2-year layoff, 35 years old, baby. Pretty major. Pretty major, man. Alright, let's get into it then, boys. Let's go. Let's go. Beep beep in my Jeep saying over 2.5 rounds at 1.60. That's not bad. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I quite like that, mate. Well, we'll see. We'll see. From memory, Ansarov is really weak on the ground, but does a really good job of defending herself on the ground. Alright, let's go. Let's sync it up, boys. Let's get this first round going. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Hopefully we can dig up a bet on this one. Although, to be honest, spoiler alert, I doubt I'll be betting this fight. From my perspective, this is not really a fight that I like to bet, just because obviously it's a tricky stylistic matchup for Dern because her offensive wrestling's bad and Ansarov's takedown offense is pretty good, like Appleman has said. But on the other side of the coin, I'm not really in a hurry to bet a fighter that's 35 years old, coming in off a 2-year layoff, that's just had a baby, against a fighter like Dern that's making exponential improvements from fight to fight. Although, what I would say to Appleman's point is that we haven't really seen much improvement to Dern's wrestling, right? Most of the improvement to Dern has been with her striking. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's get into it though, boys. 1 minute 44. Let's sync it up. Let's get it going. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So what I love about this fight is obviously Suarez is levels and levels and levels above Mackenzie Dern when it comes to offensive wrestling. So we should get a really good look at Nina Ansarov's takedown defense here. And from memory, takedown offense looked pretty good. Great takedown offense there. Ansarov did a brilliant job of clearing her legs early when Ansarov got in very deep on the leg. Suarez got deep in on the legs. That was a beautifully timed deep double leg shot from Suarez, and Ansarov was able to read it and clear her legs. So this is important to me. So I've always felt Ansarov is one of those fighters that, for the most part, has really good takedown defense, but then is also one of these fighters that gets complacent and gives up really bad, weak takedowns. The Juliana Lima fight was a great example of this. The Randa Marcos fight was another good example of this. And we've just seen, you know, Ansarov give up a really weak outside trip. You've got to be thinking, you know, even though Dern's offensive wrestling's not great, she is persistent with her takedowns. And Ansarov's probably going to be a little bit rusty coming in. A little bit flat, a little bit rusty. And, you know, one of those fighters that could potentially be caught cold. You know, if Mackenzie Dern comes out the gate fast. My issue with Ansarov, the only two issues I've really got with her are she's very weak off her back. If you do take her down, she struggles to work her way back up to her feet. And on top of that, she does get complacent. She's a little bit like Alex Caceres with her takedown offense. Alex Caceres is one of these fighters that, for the most part, has pretty good, technically sound takedown offense, but every once in a while, he gets complacent, loses concentration, and gives up a really weak takedown. That's how I would describe Ansarov. So she's relying on her balance here to stuff this single leg. Suarez trying to get to the back on this high crotch single leg and upset her balance. Ansarov doing a good job of creating a wide base against the cage, but Suarez has got her hands connected around Ansarov's hips. This is where I don't like Ansarov's takedown offense. Ansarov isn't working for underhooks here. Instead, she's just allowing Suarez to gain, you know, to connect her hands around her legs, and because of that, she gets taken down. So really, really poor takedown defense there from Ansarov. I'm already thinking Dern's going to be the lean here. At underdog odds, this is very poor from Ansarov. I know Suarez is a much higher level wrestler than Dern, a much better offensive wrestler than Dern, but Ansarov is trying to stuff these takedowns with pure balance alone. She's not using the correct technique, and you know, it's unlikely based on what we've seen Dern's going to be able to take Ansarov down, but Ansarov is so weak off her back that, you know, Dern might only need to hit one takedown in the fight to you know, to cause her big trouble. You know how dangerous Dern is on the ground, right? So Ansarov's takedown defense looking really sketchy right now. Really sketchy. And again, I will keep saying this because I know people will not let this sink in. I understand that Suarez's offensive wrestling is light years ahead of Dern's, but Suarez isn't getting these takedowns because she's an amazing wrestler. She's getting these takedowns because Ansarov isn't doing the correct thing to defend them. She's trying to create a wide base against the cage and rely on balance to stuff the takedown instead of digging for underhooks and making it difficult for Suarez to connect her hands around her hips or her body. It's a good point, Hiltz. I think the question is, you know, can Ansarov do enough standing to negate any, you know, period of grappling control that Dern may rack up, right? But we're seeing Ansarov very, very weak off her back. Suarez is giving her space to pop back up to her feet, giving her space to wall walk, but she's choosing to stay in this closed guard instead. Jake Capelli, man, I understand what you're saying, mate, but I do think Ansarov will have a huge advantage over Dern when it comes to striking. I do think she'll have a huge advantage when it comes to striking. I don't think this will be competitive if it stays standing. I'm with Appleman on the sense that Dern's in a lot of trouble if she can't get this fight to the ground. But with how bad Ansarov's takedown defense looks, I know Dern's offensive wrestling's not good at all, but it might not have to be with how weak Ansarov is giving up takedowns here. So sync up round 2 for me now, which starts at 7 minutes and 53. Sync it up, boys. 7 minutes 53. Let's get it going. Everybody, let's get it going. 7 minutes 53. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, do me a favour, boys, and hit the like button. I would really appreciate it. Anyway, let's get this next one going. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. I did think Ansarov's takedown offense was better than this. I'm quite disappointed by how she didn't... I mean, you know, a lot of the time you see fighters come from a traditional kickboxing background. Like Ansarov's from a taekwondo background, right? A lot of the time you see fighters with those kind of backgrounds use overhooks to defend takedowns instead of underhooks. But Ansarov wasn't even doing that. Ansarov was purely trying to stuff the takedown with balance, which is just not a good idea. Because if your balance gets upset, you're not using those overhooks or underhooks as an anchor to keep the fight standing, right? If your balance gets upset, you'll get taken down because you've got nothing to kind of get your balance from. You see it here. Suarez is fishing for this single leg, and Ansarov is just relying on creating a wide base against the cage. She's not. She's kind of fishing for an underhook now, but it's too. Yeah, I think Dern's the one. Very tempted to bet Dern here. This is not good from Ansarov. This is not good. I know Dern's not going to be able to chain takedowns together like this and hit single legs on Ansarov like Suarez is, but Ansarov's takedown defense is so bad that it's not going to be impossible to take her down. And on the ground, Dern's going to cause a murder. Absolute murder. We have seen her struggle against a lot of grapplers, right? Justine Kish, Juliana Lima. Although there wasn't actually that much grappling in that fight, I take that back. But Juliana Lima, Leon Prada, although it was her UFC debut. Yeah, Matern, I'm pretty sure Ansarov's going to look a lot worse than what we've seen from her in the past, just because of all the challenges that she's faced. Like, look at this, she's so weak off her back, just kind of aimlessly looking over to her corner. Yeah, you're right there, Matern. These guys definitely going to be heading in opposite career trajectories, right? Dern making big improvements from fight to fight, Ansarov declining from fight to fight. I can't imagine Ansarov's going to look that sharp after a 2-year layoff and having a baby 6 months ago. I can't see it. You just see Ansarov's really weak off her back. She's not trying to open her guard up and scoot her hips over to the cage to start wall walking. She's very much accepting being in this position. Sure, yeah, Artemius, come join us in live betting, dude. Come and join us, mate. There are a couple of spaces available. There are a couple of live betting memberships available at the moment. They don't come up. They're not available very often. But there are a couple spaces available now, man. Get on it. Those spaces won't last long. And if you plan on live betting with us for the busy summer schedule, all those events for International Fight Week in July, come join us, Artemius, man. You will like it, and you will make a lot of money, dude. Come join us, dude. I think you're going to like it a lot. So, do you know what? I actually thought Ansarov's takedown offense was a lot better than this. From memory, she was one of these fighters that was really, really difficult to take down, but then easy to hold down. But from what I'm seeing here, she's just not using the correct technique to stuff takedowns. She's relying too much on balance. She's just relying on balance. And that can get you into a lot of trouble. Quite surprised. The most concerning thing for me is how weak she's looked on her back. She really hasn't made any attempt to get back up. At the end of the day, you've got a high-level wrestler like Suarez on top of you, but you've got to open that guard up, especially when you're only a foot or two away from the cage. You've got to open that guard up and try and get your back, up against the cage and start wall walking. To just stay in that closed guard is red flag city, because it says to me that Ansarov is one of those fighters that will let rounds slip away from her, and she will also not show that much urgency to rescue rounds if that round is not going her way. So Dern definitely looking like the pick here to me, especially at underdog odds. Ansarov's not looking anywhere near as good as I thought she was, and 2-year layoff. She's had a baby, 35 years old. A lot of red flags. Alright, let's get this third round going. I'm quite surprised, man. I didn't realise Ansarov's takedown offence was this bad. I knew she was weak off her back from the Juliana Lima fight, but I didn't realise she was this bad at stuffing takedowns. So let's get this next one going. It starts at 14 minutes and 48 seconds. That's 14 minutes and 48 seconds. Let's sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So what I'll do after this, guys, I'm going to do another fight after this. I'm probably going to research. I'll let you guys vote. After this, would you rather we do Arnold Allen versus Sadiq Youssef or Mike Perry versus Daniel Rodriguez? Whichever fight gets the most votes, that's the fight we'll research on stream next. Let me know. Those are the two I'd like to do. Whichever fight gets the most votes. I know Joey McBride wants Youssef versus Allen, so already one vote for... Oh, Paul wants Allen Youssef too. Betskill's thinking about Dern or the over 2.5 rounds. So that's 2 votes for Allen versus Youssef. Let me know, boys. Whichever fight gets more... Alright, Matern wants Allen Youssef. That's 3. Yeah, I think it does, London boy, man. I think it does start earlier. Not sure exactly what time for us, dude, but it does start a bit earlier. What I did notice from Ansarov towards the end of round 2 is that she's so worried about being taken down now that she's struggling to open up. You see a little bit of it at the beginning of the 3rd round as well. Ansarov's not able to get much going with her striking because she's so worried about being taken down. And what I will say is this. Even though Suarez is a much stronger wrestler than Dern, there's so much more danger to being taken down by Dern than by Suarez. Because you know Suarez is just going to chip away at you from top position, right? Whereas Dern's going to be looking to choke you unconscious, rip your arm off, rip your leg off. Or mount you and just fucking do terrible things. Very nice takedown offense there, though, from Ansarov. Suarez looks up at the clock, starting to slow down a little bit. But Ansarov hasn't been able to get much going with her striking. So, earlier on the stream, Jake Capelli said, we don't know if Ansarov will be able to outstrike Dern. And I was like, hang on, dude. You know, Ansarov, much better striker than Dern. Maybe Jake's right. Maybe Jake's right. Maybe Ansarov won't have as much success standing as we thought she would. Because she hasn't achieved much here against Suarez. And we're 3 minutes into round 3 now. And Ansarov hasn't really landed anything in 3 minutes. I do think the threat of Suarez's takedown has really shut down Ansarov's striking. It is also worth noting, one more thing that I will say. Ansarov does have a base in Taekwondo. So, she does have a very kicks-based style of striking. You know, Ansarov is much more of a kicker than a boxer. Obviously, when Ansarov throws those kicks, that does give Dern an opportunity to catch one of those kicks and turn it into a takedown. Now, I'm not saying Dern has shown a particularly good ability to do that in the past, but, you know, Dern does have a good team behind her, good coaches. If they've done their homework on Ansarov, Perhaps, Dern's coaches will be saying, look, this girl likes to throw a lot of side kicks, push kicks, teeps, spinning taekwondo type kicks. Maybe they've got Dern working on catching kicks and turning them into takedowns where, maybe Dern's not going to be able to get Ansarov to the ground with traditional wrestling techniques, single legs, double legs. But perhaps she can catch kicks and turn them into takedowns, It's just something to think about, just like throwing ideas out there. Let me know what you think about that. Yeah, Spiz, I don't think you're going to find any evidence of Dern's offensive wrestling, mate. Dern's offensive wrestling's bad. Real bad. But the question is Ansarov skilled enough to dominate standing and completely keep the fight standing? I'm not sure. Especially because she throws a lot of kicks. The kicks will be there for Dern to catch. Especially because a lot of the kicks that Ansarov throws are kind of, slow range finding kicks. She throws the odd spinning attack with a bit of pop on it, but for the most part she's measuring distance and chipping away at her opponent with those kicks. And up until this final flurry, didn't really have any success with her boxing. So yeah, Ansarov not looking as good there as I thought she would. I'm not that impressed by Ansarov's performance at the moment. Definitely leaning Dern here, just because I think Dern can actually be more competitive standing than I thought. I thought if it stayed standing, Ansarov would completely outclass her. But based on that third round, I'm not sure that Ansarov will be as dominant standing as I thought. But we'll see. Let's go watch some of Mackenzie Dern now. We'll check her out against Verna Jandiroba in her last fight. Sharks, let's talk about that stuff in the VIP chat, man. We don't want the odds to get steamed, dude, before everyone can jump on it. So sync up this fight for me. Sync it up. Let's get it going, guys. Let's get it going. Sync it up. I'll be dropping these links in for you. I'll also drop some ESPN Plus links for you guys in the United States. Sync it up, guys. Sync it up. Sync it up. Let's get it going. So what have we got? So Matern. Yeah, the X Factor's a huge Matern for sure, dude. Yeah, it's going to be what I'm interested to see here is Dern striking. I'm obviously watching a little bit more footage on Ansarov striking, because we didn't get to see a whole lot of it there. When we watch a little bit more footage on Ansarov, we see a little bit more of her striking. We'll be able to gauge how much trouble Dern might be in if this fight stays standing. But then, if we watch, when we watch the Gadea fight, that's 2.5 years ago now. It's a long time ago, especially for a 35-year-old strawweight. So anyway, sync up this next one for me, and let's get into it. Dern Jandiroba. We did bet Mackenzie Dern in this fight. She came through for us in a big way, but obviously we were made to sweat very, very bad because Jandiroba gave her hell, particularly in round 2. Very competitive fight this. So sync it up for me. It starts at 1 minute 28. Sync it up, guys. 1 minute 28. Catch up on the comments if we've got any. Yeah, you're right hyping there, dude. You're right, mate. Nice one, Brett, dude. Nice one, Skull. Skull thinks... Well, you know what, Skull? It's interesting you say that, mate. I thought Ansarov Striking was a lot better than it actually was, but very, very flat in that third round against Suarez. But I do think the risk of Suarez's takedowns shut down the volume of Ansarov. She's worried about being open. She's worried about opening up for fear of being taken down. Whether Dern would be able to get that same respect with the threat of her ground game, I'm not sure. But then, like I said, Dern's ground... It's a lot scarier to go to the ground with Dern than it is Suarez. So, even though Dern may not be able to put Ansarov in as bad positions when working the takedowns. If you go to the ground with Dern, it can be a death sentence. So where Suarez is fishing for takedowns, Ansarov might be thinking, you know what? I don't want to go to the ground because this girl's going to just chip away at me from top position. It's going to be hard for me to work my way back up to my feet. But then, unlikely Suarez does much from top position or finishes her, right? Whereas against Dern, Ansarov's got to be thinking, shit, if this fight does go to the ground, I'm in big trouble. You know? Big trouble. Because Dern's a nightmare. We got quite a few comments on YouTube. I'm just gonna scroll back through. I'll just go through as many as I can. Rogue Strummer is saying the betting line is off by about 30 or 40 points for me. I think Dern should be around minus 125, which is about 1.80. I'm starting to agree with you, Rogue. I'm starting to see where you're coming from, dude, for sure. Abacus is saying Ansarov diffused Gadea's jiu-jitsu game perfectly with great takedown offense. The thing is, though, Gadea's gas tank falls off a cliff after round 1, right? So it is not the same as Dern, who can bring it hard for 3 rounds. Usually, if you can just neutralize Gadea for 1 round, you can do really well in the second and third when Gadea's too gassed to do anything. Lawrence McWilliams is saying, I'm curious as to why Ansarov is the favourite after a 2-year layoff and a baby. I agree, dude. Simple Man wants to do Alan Youssef. Jamie Cook. This is the 4th fight I will have researched on this card, dude. Gold Caps is saying, how do you relay your tips for live betting considering the small window of time you have to bet before the lines get locked up? I'm wondering how you get out of the tip quick enough. To be honest, dude, I do have my ways, man. I do have my ways. I don't really want to reveal how we do things because live betting is one of those things that the more people that learn about what we do, the less effective it becomes. And so it's like a patent, right? If you create like a really good product, really good service, people are going to try and copy that, and then, that product or service you produce becomes less valuable the more people that do it. Live betting is very valuable because, to my knowledge, no one else really does things how we do. No one else has achieved the same kind of success as us with live betting. This is a system that I've built over a very, 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 very long period of time, which has enabled us to put together an incredible profitability chart that looks like this. So all I will say is, if you are worried about how things work in live betting, stop worrying and just jump on board. But if you kind of want to know how things work, I'm not really going to reveal that. You kind of just got to join and see for yourself. I would say people like it. People like it. The reason why very few spaces become available in live betting is because when people join live betting, they don't usually leave for a really long time. So yeah, if you're sitting on the fence, I would say just give it a try, man. You won't be disappointed. Parlons is saying, Jandaroba, just watch how she looks every fight. She looks better than the last one. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right, dude. Dern's making big improvements, right? Reese Tomlinson, what bankroll will I need to join live betting? Not very much, mate. It's a complex topic, but again, like with my answer to gold caps, I've built like a way of doing things with live betting, which is super, super, super effective. But it kind of contradicts a lot of the other ways that people tell you should bet. So you don't need much to start making decent gains in live betting with me. Starting with like 500, £1,000, more than enough. In fact, if you can get £1,000 together, that is a perfect number. But it is a complex topic, and I would just say email me for more info, man. Email me info@mabettingtips.com. I'll write it in. It is a complex topic, dude. But you don't need that much to start making good gains in live betting, because our win rate is about 80%. So, or it's not about 80%. It's at least like 70%, right? I don't know the exact number. We don't track it because we win a crazy amount of bets, but our win rate is very high. So you don't need much to start making big gains. Aldo is saying, I like Nina to keep it standing in circle. MMA consultant saying rogue. Not sure what that means. Jamie Cook, do you put every stream on YouTube? No, mate. There is a reason why I don't put every stream on YouTube. Basically, most people don't care about, these live streams. Like, the harsh reality is most people just want quick videos, quick picks, right? So this live stream will probably last over an hour just on this one fight alone. People aren't interested in watching a 1 hour long video just on one fight. So what happens is, if I put all these research videos on YouTube, they barely get any views, they barely get any interaction, and so, my channel will basically get buried by YouTube, because the YouTube algorithm likes views, likes interaction, likes comments, likes, and because not many people are interested in these research videos, my channel would basically get buried if the majority of videos on my channel were these research videos, which they would be, right? Because this week, for example, we're researching 15 fights on the UFC. Imagine if I put 15 fight research videos on YouTube this week, barely any of them would get views. It'd be like 20 hours worth of content. No one would watch them, no one would like them, no one would comment, and that would have a knock-on effect on my other videos, right? They wouldn't get ranked very well, because YouTube would be like, well, the majority of the time this person posts a video to their YouTube channel, they don't get any views, so we're not going to give any of his videos a bump. So if you want to watch these research videos, I do a session like this for every single fight. Every single fight in the UFC, we do a research video like this for. And if you want to get them, you can sign up for my website. And if I take you to the last event, which would be Miocic and Ngannou, you can see that we have a 5 to 10 minute breakdown video for every fight on the card. Just a little quick summary, 5 to 10 minutes for the most part. And then on top of that, you also get the live stream archive where, these research sessions get uploaded to this. There's like 1 hour 45 there, 1 hour 36 minutes, almost 2 hours, 1 hour 20, 1 hour 11, 2 hours 10, an hour and 10. So there's tons of content on there, man, that get posted every week. So this week we'll have a breakdown video for every fight on the site. I will also have the fight research videos. Yeah, basically, the short answer is, if I did put these stream videos on YouTube, my channel would get buried by the YouTube algorithm. So I can't do it. They go on the website instead, though. What have we got? Skull thinks that Dern can outstrike Ansarov. It's possible. She is one of these fighters that will bite down on her mouthpiece, come forward, and what she lacks in technique, she makes up for in scrappiness, right? Very, very scrappy. Spiz is saying, I think she still has years of improving her striking to be able to compete with Nina's standing. I'm not so sure, Spiz. I didn't see anything that special from Ansarov in that third round against Suarez. It'll be interesting to see how she looks in a couple of the other fights that we watch. We went 1-1 on Bellator Mara, which on paper would give us a small profit because the two bets, or one of the bets, was quite a big underdog winner. But Bellator live betting was difficult last week because not all sites were offering odds and it was just messy. Basically 1-1. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. You would have made a small profit if you could have bet both live bets, but not many people could. Hilt is saying, the more I'm sitting here thinking, the more I'm coming around to the fact Dern wins. Yeah, I'm starting to lean Dern quite heavily, dude. Be interested to see just how Dern's striking looks, and then I want to see more of Ansarov's strikings. I wasn't impressed by Ansarov's striking in that third round against Suarez. Rami is saying, I've been following Dern's sparring on Jason Perillo and Michael Bisping's Instagram. She's just too sharp for Nina to deal with at the moment. Interesting. So Rami and Jake Capelli and also Betskull are kind of favouring that or kind of suggesting that Dern might do a lot better against Ansarov standing than most people think. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's get this next one going. Let's get into it. Let's go. Let's sync it up. So this one starts at 1 minute 28. Let's get it going, guys. Oh, what's up, Jamie Cook, dude? Jamie, it is $151 a month for live betting, $31 a month for all the pre-fight content. So for that, you get lab bets, pre-fight bets, breakdown videos, fight research videos, and access to the VIP chat room. It's a lot. It's a lot. I will say that. If you do sign up and you're not making more than $31 most months, well, we must have had a very bad month. All I'll say is over the last year, with the way the lab's been going, more often than not, you would have done pretty well for that. Harvey Dickens is saying, what do you think of Holland versus Vettori? Do you know what, dude? You know what? It is a tricky one. The thing with that fight is, based on Holland's performance against Brunson, it's a nightmare matchup for him, right? Because we know Holland's not the best boxer. Holland's style of striking is predominantly kicks based. Vettori is a very good boxer, so Vettori's able to come forward with lots of pressure, box his way inside, and we know Holland's just one of these guys that doesn't do a particularly good job of backing his opponents up because he's not that effective at striking while moving backwards. Also, we know Vettori's a very, very high-level grappler. It's quite notable to me that when Vettori started to get into trouble against Hermansson, the first thing that he started to do was look for the takedown, get the fight to the ground, and so he could catch his breath, run the clock down, take a little bit of a break on the ground. So, when we're looking at Holland's performance against Brunson, Holland shows up and performs like that against Vettori, he's in a lot of trouble because Vettori's going to be able to pressure him, put him on the back foot, force him to fight in an uncomfortable range, and use his boxing to really, really cause Holland some big trouble. The one thing that makes this fight difficult for Holland is that Vettori's got an amazing chin as well. You know, we've seen Vettori eat some big shots, and no one's really been able to bother Vettori that much standing. He's just one of these guys with an excellent chin. Even when he gets tired, it's hard to hurt him standing. So the probability of Holland landing something crazy, catching him with a flash KO is quite unlikely. And then on top of that, obviously Vettori's a much higher level grappler than Holland on the ground. I'd actually say Vettori's a better offensive wrestler and much more dangerous grappler than Brunson. So if Brunson can do what he did to Holland, Vettori can go one step further and cause Holland hell on the ground. The problem with Holland is that he's incredibly inconsistent. The same Holland that we got against Darren Stewart is not the same Holland we got against Jaqueen Buckley. You know, the same Holland that we got against Jacare is not the same Holland that we got against Brendan Allen or Derek Brunson that looked very weak on the ground. You know, against Jacare, Holland, scrambled like crazy when he was taken down, made Jacare work hard for the takedown and showed a very active guard. Against Brendan Allen and Derek Brunson, he gave up takedowns very easily and just accepted being on the bottom. So for me, the question is, what version of Holland do we get? Do we get the knucklehead Holland that fought Brendan Allen, Darren Stewart, and Derek Brunson, or do we get the version of Holland that actually shows up to fight, like we saw against Jaqueen Buckley and also Jacare? The one thing I will say is, you're only as good as your last fight. The most recent performance tells us a lot about a fighter. Based on how Holland looked against Brunson, this is the worst stylistic matchup imaginable for him, because Vettori can do everything Brunson could do, but way better. However, I will say this, Vettori's output tends to fall off a cliff in every round. Every round that ticks by, Vettori becomes a lot less effective. And so, if Holland does show up to fight, and he does make Vettori work hard early, I think this one could get super interesting, because Vettori does have a tendency to slow down. What's up, Ro? Good to see you, dude. What's up, London boy? You know what? Mike Perry, we'll get into the Mike Perry situation when we research that fight, right? But what I would say is, Daniel Rodriguez is moving up as well, right? Both guys are moving up. Is this not more of two welterweights just agreeing to fight at middleweight? Oh, no, wait. They're both... This is at 170. Perry's not moving up yet, right? This fight's still at 170, yeah? So I wouldn't worry about it for now, dude. I wouldn't worry about it for now. Jake Capelli saying Bellator live betting on Betway was amazing. Yeah, you are right, dude. They Betway were caught napping a few times, right, dude? Parlons is thinking about betting Dern. Make is saying that Holland didn't train any ground game at all in the last fight. Wouldn't surprise me, man. The guy just makes bad decisions. FIFA Gaming is saying, what do you think of the chances of Carl Dorcas winning this weekend? I'm not sure, mate. I don't know anything about his opponent, and I haven't researched that fight yet, but I will look to get into that fight in the next couple of days. ABH is saying more of Dern's Instagram, please. Mate, my wife will kill me, man. You crazy? You trying to get me killed on stream or something, dude? Anyway, we can watch more of Dern's fighting. Let's get into it. Round 1, Dern versus Jandiroba. Let's sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go, let's go. Let's go. So, obviously, big percentages of this fight was striking. Now, Jandiroba is not as technical as Ansarov. Doesn't move as well as Ansarov. Obviously, Ansarov got that base in Taekwondo. Jandiroba, base in BJJ. But I'm interested to see how Dern's striking looks here. She does just go for that windmill approach, right? Come forward in straight lines, winging those big wide hooks. I do respect Dern's fearlessness, though. You know, one of the reasons why we bet Dern in this fight is because we know she is the kind of fighter that will go out on her shield, right? Even against Amanda Ribas. You go back, I'm not sure if we'll watch the Amanda Ribas fight in this stream because it was a long time ago and you know, Dern's, well, long time ago relative to the rate at which Dern's improving. But what I will say is even in that third round, Dern was still chasing Ribas around the octagon. She wasn't achieving anything because of Ribas' footwork and movement was too good. But she was still chasing Ribas around the cage, trying to make something happen. And I do like that about Dern. While she lacks in technique, she makes up for in heart and determination. And I know a lot of you are suggesting that maybe Dern can just out-hustle Ansarov with her work rate. Be interested to see what Ansarov Striking looked like in that Gadea fight. I do know Gadea started strong and then faded very hard in the second and third. I'm not sure, Ro. We'll check the timeline, man. After this fight, we'll check the timeline. But I do know that Dern's striking has improved exponentially since she fought Amanda Nunes. And look, she's with an amazing coach, right? Jason Perillo. Doesn't get much better than Perillo. You know, Perillo's trained some great fighters over the years. Tito Ortiz, Michael Bisping, Chris Cyborg, Rafael Dos Anjos. I mean, if you just think about that, right? BJ Penn, you know. Perillo doesn't work with many fighters, but I've just literally named 5 world champions that, you know, if you ask those 5 world champions, Tito Ortiz, Chris Cyborg, BJ Penn, Rafael Dos Anjos, Michael Bisping, you ask any of those guys about Jason Perillo and they've only got good things to say. Bisping actually talks about Perillo quite a bit in his book. You know, Bisping's an alpha male. He speaks his mind. You know, Bisping's one of these guys that you can't get nothing over on Bisping, right? And Bisping can't say enough good things about Jason Perillo. He literally credits Perillo for his win over Luke Rockhold. Like, there's a chapter about it in his book. So I love the fact that Dern's training under Jason Perillo. I think it's brilliant. Perillo's got a long history of producing world champions or helping world champions improve. I know RDA went there after he won his title. RDA obviously hasn't improved, but I have a feeling that was more to do with USADA than Perillo's influence. But obviously Perillo has worked with many, many world champions, and world champions don't work with bad coaches. I'm sure if we really think about Perillo's career, there's probably more fighters that I'm forgetting. I know Rampage Jackson trained with Perillo for a bit. BJ Penn, probably the guy he's best known for working with, right? Ah, yeah, interesting. So Paul just reminding us that Rockhold trains with Jason Perillo now. I saw on Bisping's Instagram the other day that they were having a little bit of banter, which is super interesting because I did read Bisping's book recently, and it's quite clear that he still fucking hates Luke Rockhold. So now that Rockhold's training with Jason Perillo, I'm guessing him and Bisping must have buried the hatchet over a few beers. Because Bisping was kind of needling him a little bit in the gym, and Luke Rockhold was taking it just fine. Whereas, back in when did they fight? 2016. Back in 2016, 2017, that fucking when I saw the Instagram clip, I was like, oh my god, there's no way Rockhold's gonna take this from Bisping. Like, if Bisping took shit to Rockhold like that back in 2016, they're fighting. Like, they're fighting. They fucking hated each other. But Rockhold just gave him a little smile. It was all cool. I was like, oh, pretty cool, man. Because that was one of those rivalries which was pretty nasty, to the point where even when Bisping ruined Rockhold's career, Bisping still talked mad shit about Rockhold. Like, it wasn't like the beef was done. They still hated each other. To the point where Bisping repeatedly makes fun of Rockhold in his book. I'm guessing that Rockhold hasn't read Bisping's book, because if he has, perhaps they wouldn't be as cordial in the gym with each other. Bisping talks mad shit about him. But anyway, let's get this next round going. Round 2, sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. London boy, Fabian Edwards versus Austin Vanderford. Is that this weekend in Bellator? Tough fight for Edwards, that. What are the odds on Vanderford? No odds yet. Is that this weekend? Let me know, London boy, mate, because that is a bit of a nightmare matchup for Edwards. As much as I like Edwards, unfortunately he doesn't share the same takedown offense that his brother has. And Vanderford is a really strong offensive wrestler that can keep bringing it for 3 rounds. So that is a very, 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 very good fight for Mr. Van Zandt. Be interested to see what the odds are. So what we see from Dern here is pretty much what we see in all their fights, right? Coming forward in straight lines, chin up high and exposed, winging those big, wide windmill shots, and not really having any success with her wrestling. Every takedown attempt very high above Jandiroba's hips. She did get in on one deep single leg in round 1, which, to be honest with you, could be enough to take someone like Ansaroff down. It didn't look that difficult to upset Ansarov's balance at times against Suarez. But make no mistake, Dern's offensive wrestling very ineffective. However, I do agree with quite a few of you. Sorry if I don't mention everyone's name. The ones I can remember: Bet Skull, Jake Capelli, Hypen. I think Hypen mentioned it. I'm not sure that the skill gap in striking... Let me rephrase that. The skill gap in striking is going to be pretty big, right? I do think Ansarov is a far more technical striker than Dern, but I'm not convinced whether Dern can't close that technique gap with her hustle, because she is scrappy. And the thing is, when Dern comes forward in a straight line, you don't really know what she's going to do. Is she going to wing those big hooks? Or is she going to be looking to take you down, you know? And we did see Suarez catch Ansarov clean and cold a few times in that third round, just because Ansarov was so focused on being taken down, she couldn't pay full attention to, obviously, Suarez is striking. You can only focus on one thing, right? And if you focus too much on being taken down, concentration is going to dip on your striking defense. So we'll let this situation play out. There's a foul at the moment. So we'll wait for this foul to play out and then we'll get back into it. I'll run through some questions. Sorry, Sharks, I haven't researched that fight yet, mate. Yeah, that's the thing for me, Matern, right? That is the thing, Matern, where because Ansarov is trying to kind of stay quite pretty, chip away at Dern, with those kind of flashy kicks, those range-finding kicks, is Dern just going to be able to power through them and just windmill with those big power hooks? How much of Ansarov's pretty style of striking is going to cause Dern a problem? What I'm trying to say is Dern going to show Ansarov any respect with her kicking game, or is she just going to walk through him? Yeah, you're right, JB. That could happen for sure, man. I guess it's one of those things, isn't it? I would say it definitely... Getting her nose crushed definitely affected Dern in the second round. We see her coming up in a moment, right? But then, whether she's going to be one of these fighters that's just like, do you know what? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Dern just comes out even more aggressive and confident than ever. Or, breaking your nose, pretty painful, right? The rehabilitation isn't nice. Very painful. Very uncomfortable. Maybe like JB says, she thinks, fuck that, I don't want to get my nose broken again, that was horrible. I need to fight a bit safer. And to JB's point, and to everyone else's point, I actually think Dern's recklessness is what makes her somewhat effective striking, which I know is counterproductive, right? I know it doesn't make much sense, a bit of a contradiction, but... because she just comes forward and she's not afraid to eat a shot to get inside, that does make her quite difficult to deal with, because Ansarov's going to be looking to establish range and back her up with those, range-finding kicks. But we know based on past performances, Dern's probably just going to walk through those kicks. And so that takes away a big part of Ansarov's striking, which would be effective. However, if, to JB's point, Dern now comes in and tries to fight safer and smarter after having her nose broken because she doesn't want to go through that again, Ansarov's style of striking will become a lot more effective, because if Dern just stands in front of Ansarov in kickboxing range, Ansarov's going to be able to use her superior technique to chip away at her. Dern can negate the technical advantage that Ansarov has by making the fight ugly, by coming forward like she's done here against Jandiroba, and getting in Ansarov's face. But if she doesn't keep coming forward, tries to win a kickboxing match, she's going to be in a lot of trouble. Having said all that, with the red flags with Ansarov, I still think this is dog or pass. I wouldn't be betting Ansarov here as a favourite. I could tell you that. But anyway, sync up this third round for me, which starts at 15 minutes and 25 seconds on Fight Pass. That's 15 minutes and 25 seconds on Fight Pass. Sync it up, guys. Sync it up. Sync it up. Sync it up, guys. Kieran Kilcoyne is saying Perry's got to be worth a gamble at those odds. I'm not sure, man. Perry hasn't looked as good recently. I agree with you that the old Perry would have been worth a bet, but I'm not sure if the Perry we've seen in his last couple of fights is the same dude. Although Mayday is just saying that Perry's training at MMA Masters now. If that's true, that's an amazing move. MMA Masters is such an underrated gym. I think MMA Masters is a brilliant gym. I think that, you know, if Perry can move there, get his head back in the game, that's a great gym for Perry to be training at. Alex Weatherhead is saying, does anyone have odds on the Frank Mir fight? Frank Mir's fighting on the 17th of April, right? On that Jake Paul Ben Askren card. I haven't seen any odds for that fight, man. Maybe someone can hook you up. James Smith, we're just about to watch the third round of Mackenzie Dern against Werner Jandiroba, dude. Parlon said he's finally sold. He's going to bet Dern. Nice, JB. That's a great move, JB, man. I think Perry going to train at MMA Masters is such a smart move. Taz, if there's any problem with the lab, dude, I will fix that. I will fix that after the stream. Or maybe actually, no, maybe I'll fix it now because we have added some bets to the lab in the last couple of hours. I'll fix the lab for you now, man. Give me 2 seconds, dude. Sorry about this, Taz. It looks like Scared Joe is having a problem as well. So if anyone's struggling to access the lab, okay, it looks like everyone's having problems accessing the lab. I will see what the problem is now, boys, and I will fix it now. Just give me 1 second. Sorry about this, boys. Sorry to everyone that hasn't been able to access the lab. We did add a bet earlier on tonight, which is a very solid bet. Taz, could you do me a favour, mate, and refresh the page and see if it works, dude? Let me know, Taz, mate. Let me know. And if it does, I want to get this fixed for you because I do think the odds may start to decline on the dude that we added a bet on earlier. And so I want to make sure everyone can get in on it before the odds move too much. Let me know if it works, Taz, dude. Let me know if it works, man. I'll keep it up just in case it doesn't. Anyway, let's get into this third round. Nice one, Sharks. Sharks, were you locked out as well, mate? Oh, yeah, Sharks was locked out. Sorry, Sharks, dude. Sorry. Yeah, I've been working on I've been working on the new page layouts for the lab, and I fucked the settings up basically. I've been working on this page today, and I just fucked the settings up. Sorry, boys. You should be able to access it now, though. Nice one, Taz. Nice one, Sharks. Cheers, boys. All right, let's get this third round going. Sync it up. Get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. Let's go. Nice one, Sharks, mate. Cheers, dude. Yeah, I'm gonna be rolling out some more updates before the end of the week. One thing I will say, prop bets are gonna be a little bit messy this week. I'm not sure how I'm gonna post props. I'm gonna be building a new page on the site just for prop bets, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna have enough time to do that this week. I will do my best. So just this week, props might be a little bit messy this week, but from next week then we'll be good to go. Everything will be much better organised. Oh, nice one, Sharks, dude. Thanks a lot, Sharks, mate. Thanks, mate. Thanks, dude. So, Dern in on a really, really deep double leg there, but Jandiroba effortlessly stuffed it. But what I will say is Jandiroba used that overhook on her left side to stuff that takedown, whereas we know Nina just relies on balance to stuff takedowns like that. Although what I will say is Ansarov's balance is very good. One thing that I don't like about Dern is that she doesn't chain takedowns together. She's a single shot offensive wrestler where, you know, one of the reasons why Suarez was able to get Ansarov down is because when she shot that initial takedown entry, if Ansarov shut down that initial entry, Suarez would then chain into a different technique until she were able to drag Ansarov down. What we have seen from Ansarov is that she does a reasonably good job of stuffing the initial entry. You think back to that Suarez fight, situations where Suarez would shoot in and Ansarov would sprawl out with a takedown. But then Ansarov would stay tight, or then Suarez would stay tight to Ansarov, chain different takedowns together, and ultimately, drag Ansarov to the ground. My concern with Dern is when Dern comes forward, if you stuff that initial takedown, she gives up on it. So here we can see she shot a single leg, but she just stays focused on that single leg. And if Jandiroba stuffs the single leg, it's not like... Oh, Dern has actually transitioned to a double there. Dern's making me eat my words. Dern's looking to hit an outside trip off a double leg. Notice how she's tying up that left leg of Jandiroba, but lacks the physicality to establish a dominant position there. So I agree with Spiz. I do agree with Spiz in the sense that Dern's offensive wrestling is garbage. I'm not sure if Spiz is still watching. I do agree with Spiz. Dern's offensive wrestling is fucking struggle city. Obviously I like to give you guys... I like to call it straight down the middle. I'd like to tell you guys exactly how it is. Dern's offensive wrestling is very bad. But what I would say is, it's not impossible to take Ansarov down. And based on the Suarez performance, I'm not sure that Ansarov's advantages standing are as big as I thought they would be. So I need to see a little bit more of Ansarov striking. Right now, with the 2-year layoff, with the baby, I've got to lean Dern. 7-year age gap as well. 3 major red flags for Ansarov. But Dern's offensive wrestling is very, very bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it. In that final takedown attempt from Dern, she did a really good job of getting in deep in that double leg position, and when she went to hit an outside trip, she just didn't have the physicality to establish a dominant position, which is a huge red flag for me. But having said that, when you take Ansarov down, she does immediately look to go to her back and get the full guard. Whereas as Dern was hitting the takedown on Jandiroba, Jandiroba was immediately looking to scramble into top position. So it is different. It is different. Jandiroba is more aware of grappling positions, more aware of the scramble and the importance of winning the scramble than Ansarov is. Jandiroba's grappling IQ way higher. We know Jandiroba's a strong grappler as well, right? We need to see more of Ansarov striking for sure. Let's go take a look at it. So let's now take a look at Ansarov versus Claudia Gadeja. Claudia Gadeja. Sync this one up for me, boys. Claudia Gadeja. This is all the way back in... This is all the way back in 2018. So obviously, in that time, with the layoff, with Ansarov now being 35, having a baby, Ansarov is more like, we never know. Like, obviously, all we're trying to do is make the best decision possible with the information we've got available. But Ansarov being 35, which is quite old for a strawweight, almost a 2-year layoff, having a baby, is more likely that Ansarov will have declined since the Gudea fight than improved. The counter argument would be, within that time, she's been training full-time at ATT with some of the best female fighters in the world. So she could have improved, but it's more likely she hasn't. More likely she's declined when you weigh everything up. So we'll take a look at this Gudea fight now. So sync it up. It starts in 1 minute 20. Paul is saying, I don't think a unit bet on Dern is a bad bet at all. I like to think Dern's wrestling would have improved. Do you know what? I will say this. I will say this. For any of you that have read Michael Bisping's book, Bisping, like, I know Paul has read Michael Bisping's book because Paul recommended the book to me. For any of you that have read Bisping's book, Bisping cannot say enough good things about Jason Parillo as a coach, and Bisping actually describes the work that he did with Jason Parillo that eventually led to him knocking Luke Rockhold out. In terms of, he spoke about only having, I think, 2 weeks to prepare for that fight against Rockhold, and he spoke about the specific things that Parillo did to put him in a very strong position to specifically knock Luke Rockhold out with the technique that he actually ended up knocking Rockhold out with. So what I would say is, I am just some nobody that sits in his pants all day, researching MMA fights, right? I don't have the knowledge that I'm not on Jason Parillo's level, right? Let's be fucking real with you. But when I watch Nina Ansarov, I can see that she throws a lot of slow, lazy, range-finding kicks. Those, like those push kicks to the legs, those side kicks to the body, those teep kicks to the body. They're slow kicks. They're not snappy power kicks that look to inflict damage, like you'd see from an Edson Barboza. They're more chippy, choppy, range-finding strikes, right? And so it's quite clear that Mackenzie Dern isn't the best offensive wrestler, right? But she is working with a coach who we know for a fact is very good at game planning, specifically for, a certain style of opponent than one of his fighters may be facing. If I am some jabroni sat in his pants researching fights all day that can look at Nina Ansarov and go, Ansarov's got a base in Taekwondo, kicks-based style of striking. Occasionally she throws something fast and flashy like a spinning back kick. But for the most part, her style of striking is to chip away at her opponents with range-finding kicks from a safe distance. If I'm Parillo, I'm going, we don't need to actually take this girl down. We don't need to be fishing for single legs and double legs. We could just focus on catching these slow, choppy, range-finding kicks and turning them into takedowns. Like, look, I'm not saying that is what will happen. All I'm saying is, Dern may not need to use wrestling to get this fight to the ground. She's got Parillo behind her. I know her dad is going to have her best interest at heart, right? What I'm saying is Ansarov is not a particularly difficult fighter to game plan for. And she does have, one of the best coaches in the game behind her. Straight from the horse's mouth. This dude talks a bunch of shit about a bunch of people in his book, hasn't got a bad word to say about Parillo, to the extent where it's almost like Bisping doesn't want to take credit for beating Rockhold and winning the title. He keeps talking about, he keeps crediting with Parillo, keeps crediting Parillo for the work Parillo did in playing a part in Bisping getting that title. So look, that's one game plan I can see, and I'm just a fucking idiot that sits in his pants watching fights all day, Paul's saying that we're going to get a worse version of Ansarov and a better version of Dern. I do agree with that. That's definitely most likely. JB saying, I don't think so, Paul. I really don't think Dern cares about offensive wrestling when she is on the ground. But she is so damn good at BJJ, she may find the sub if she gets the fight down. Yeah, it's a great book, Paul. I'm going to do a review on it on YouTube eventually. Paul also recommended Dan Hardy's book for me, Full Reptile, and I literally just bought it the other day. I bought his book because the reason why I bought his book is because people have been shitting all over Dan Hardy lately. People love to kick others when they're down. I fucking hate cancel culture, and I hate people that kick others when they're down. So I bought Dan Hardy's book with a couple t-shirts to show love for the best MMA analyst. Best MMA analyst in the motherfucking game. Dan Hardy, shout out to you. Dan Hardy, what a beast. I hate cancel culture, so if ever I see the fucking hyenas fucking on the prowl trying to cancel someone, gotta fucking show support, right? So I'm looking forward to reading that one as well, Paul, man. Yeah, one thing I will say, Matern's bringing up a really good point. So, Matern is saying that a lot of the clips on Mackenzie Dern's Instagram are showing her working on her boxing. That does make sense to me, right? Perillo predominantly is striking-based coach, predominantly a boxing-based coach, and I do think Mackenzie Dern may have made a may have gone down the wrong direction in her career early on. She's only 28, plenty of time to correct the course, do you know what I'm saying? But what I have seen from Mackenzie Dern since she came into the UFC is massive improvements to her striking, her striking defense, her movement. But we haven't really seen any improvements with her offensive wrestling. And I think her going to train with Jason Perillo is a sign that she's looked at her MMA skill set. She's been really honest with herself early in her UFC career. And she's gone, you know what? I'm a high-level grappler. But really, I could barely throw a punch. I can't see the shots of my opponent coming. I've got no striking. I really, really need to improve my striking. And so Mackenzie Dern has gone and worked with a predominantly boxing-based coach in Perillo. She's used our work ethic, which has helped her achieve such a high level of skill in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and put that work ethic to work with Jason Perillo, and we're seeing Dern make huge improvements to her striking in a short space of time. However, I would have liked to see Dern approach things slightly differently. I understand why she's chosen to do what she's done. She needed to improve her striking. But I do agree with what Khabib Nurmagomedov has said, in that too many high-level grapplers try to be strikers when it takes a lifetime to learn striking, rather than getting really, 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 really good at grappling. And I think Dern may have slightly gone down the wrong route. And I feel that if Dern would have focused on improving her wrestling instead of her striking, I feel like she probably would have had a lot more success and, taken less damage than she had or has up until this point in her career. Because she has been lit up a few times standing, do you know what I mean? So I do think Dern is going down the route of predominantly working on her striking, when I would have liked to have seen her build wrestling so that she could actually get her opponents to the ground and use her high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But I do get it. It's rock, paper, scissors, right? It's, if Dern had made big improvements to her wrestling, but she was still fighting some girls that could keep the fight standing, and she had no striking at all, and she was still getting lit up standing, we'd probably be saying, do you know what? Dern's an amazing grappler, but it would be great if she improved her striking a bit. So I understand it's a difficult position for Dern, and her team to be in, but I would have liked to see a little bit more work on her wrestling, because you can kind of see, if you go back and watch Dern's 6 fights in the UFC, she is exponentially better when it comes to striking now than she was against Ashley Yoder, whereas her wrestling hasn't really improved at all, in my opinion. Nice one, Paul. Thanks a lot, dude. Thanks a lot, mate. Jeremy Kennedy on there? Yeah, I've already researched that Kennedy fight. Nice one, man. Aldo Estrada is saying this fight is a pass. Yeah, Flynn, I love it, mate. Stuart Flynn, I love it, dude. I love Bisping, man. I love it. I love it, mate. Chris White, I'm not sure what documentary you mean, but I can't show it. If I go there, the YouTube copyright algorithm is so aggressive that this stream might get copyright flagged. But if you go to the UFC YouTube channel, and just search for Michael Bisping, there's like a 45-minute video which goes over his career. It's so good. Daniel Rodriguez is saying that if someone bets Dern, you automatically know that they didn't watch tape. That's very strange, dude, because a bunch of us that have been watching tape for over an hour now are thinking of betting Dern, so don't know where you come from with that, my friend. Chris Nelson saying, also, should we hammer Dern? I don't think so yet, mate. I don't think so yet. Definitely not hammer her. Definitely not hammer Dern. But I'm not sure if she's worth a small bet. We'll have to keep going. Aldo is saying, you all in on Jack Shaw. I haven't researched that fight yet, mate. We'll get to it in the next few days. Yeah, I hope Dan Hardy has a good future, Mayday. I love Hardy, man. He is Hardy is just about the only guy on YouTube that I will always watch all his breakdowns because I respect the bollocks off him, and he fucking knows what he's talking about. All right, let's get into this next one. Oh, nice one, the Jasons, dude. Thanks a lot, Jasons. Appreciate it, man. Thanks, mate. Cheers to Jasons. Thanks a lot, mate. All right, Jasons is thinking about passing on this one though. All right, let's go. Let's get into this Ansarov Gadea fight. Let's sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go. Let's go. So, obviously, didn't see much striking from Ansarov against Suarez. Hopefully we see a whole lot more of it here. Specifically a boxing defense, right? Because we know Dern just loves to come forward and just flail her arms around with those big looping hooks. Also pay attention to Ansarov's kicks. Remember I was saying that Dern catching Ansarov's kicks and turning them into takedowns are a path to victory? Just take a look at the kicks Ansarov likes to throw. A lot of them are kind of, body height, leg height. They're the perfect height for someone like Dern to catch the leg and turn it into a takedown. Beautiful outside trip from Gadea there. You're not going to see that kind of offensive wrestling from Dern. But what you do see from Ansarov again, which is red flag city, as soon as she hits the ground, instead of immediately trying to pop back up to her feet, she does just go to her back and accept being on the bottom. Like I say, what you want to see from a fighter when they get taken down is the team alpha male approach to takedown defense. And I'm not talking about, team alpha male, all the new guys that train there, but I'm talking about all the team alpha male alumni, right? The guys who are there in their prime that may have moved on now to other places, but you think about that team alpha male style of takedown defense historically, the Chad Mendes, the Uriah Faber, the Cody Garbrandt, the TJ Dillashaw, the Danny Castillo, the Joseph Benavidez. What do you notice about all these guys? As soon as you take those guys down, they immediately pop back up to their feet like a spring. They don't allow you to establish a dominant position. Whereas what we see from Ansarov is the complete opposite. We saw it in the Suarez fight. We saw it here. when you take Ansarov down, instead of looking to scramble back up to her feet, she just rolls to her back, allows her shoulders to be flattened out on the canvas, and allows her opponent to establish a dominant position. And then, we've seen it against Gadea, we saw it against Suarez as well, when you see your opponent give her space to scramble back up to her feet, she just hesitates on it. You know, she doesn't explode back up. But a big issue here is Gadea already looking a bit tired after that grappling exchange, circling on the outside, shaking her arms out a bit. I'm just really looking at how much Ansarov achieves here, right? Because we know Gadea gas is bad after this first round. You can see there she's shaking her arms out and taking some deep breaths. You know, what is Ansarov able to achieve? Against Suarez, she didn't achieve very much. But what does she achieve here? And just keep an eye on the kicks of Ansarov as well. See how she kind of threw that lazy knee? That's the kind of technique that you can catch and turn into a takedown. Nice one, JB, mate. Like, guys, I don't think we need to watch too much more footage on this one. I think the Dern versus Jandiroba fight showed us everything we need to see for Dern. And I think by the time we're done with this one, we will have seen a good amount of everything Ansarov brings to the table. So let me know, as we work through this fight, which way you're leaning on this one. I'm leaning Dern, predominantly because 2-year layoff for Ansarov. Dern's 7 years younger. Ansarov's coming back after having a baby 6 months ago. Ansarov is super weak off her back. Not impossible to take down. And I do think Perillo could be coming in with a game plan where Dern catches those kicks and turns them into takedowns. The main reason why I'm on Dern here, though, is because I'm not convinced Ansarov's going to be able to have as much success standing as people think. Ansarov's strikings look decent, definitely more technical than Dern. But I'm not sure she's going to be as dominant standing as people think. You know? Yeah, I think I'm going to pass as well, my turn. I'm just thinking in the context of these even money bets. You know, who has the better risk to reward ratio here? I think Dern has the better risk to reward ratio. I'm not going to be betting Dern. I am starting to take these even money bets quite serious. I probably will bet a little on Dern, just because she's, you know, in the even money experiment. But I do think Dern has the better risk to reward ratio. I will say that. I wouldn't be betting Ansarov here as a favourite. No way, Jose. Alright, let's get this second round going. Sync it up, get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So what we'll do after this, we'll get straight into the fight between Sadiq Youssef and Arnold Allen. I know that's the fight most of you want. I'm quite surprised, actually. I'm personally more interested in Daniel Rodriguez and Mike Perry. But we will do Youssef and Allen, because that got the most votes. That's my main concern for Dern in this fight, right? Gadea came forward fishing for a takedown there, and Ansarov did a really good job of stuffing that initial entry and just circling her back off the cage. That's my biggest worry for Dern. Because Dern doesn't have any chain wrestling, if Ansarov stuffs that initial takedown, which she's pretty good at doing, I do worry that Dern's just going to abandon the takedown and just then try and win a kickboxing match, which will obviously probably get her into trouble. But Ansarov throws so many lazy kicks, there will be opportunities for Dern to get this fight to the ground. Taz is saying going to take a small stab on Dern. But Turn is saying, I'm tempted by Dern, mostly because of the X factors, but I'm not sure it's smart. That's true, Hiltz. Hiltzy just making the point that Gadea's too tired to really drive through on these takedown attempts now, whereas Dern, you know, will persist with the takedowns deep into the third. Jason's is saying lean Dern but pass. Yeah, I think that's the smartest thing to do, right, mate? Mary F is saying you're right about Dern's wrestling being the problem, but she was going to have to improve on both wrestling and striking either way. I suppose better striking means less chance of being KO'd. Good point, Mary, mate. Or sorry, Mary. I assume you're female. But yeah, really good point, Mary. Very good point, man. Daniel Rodriguez is going to bet Ansarov minus 130. Chris Nelson is saying Dern's minus 147 at my book and Dern is plus 123. Yeah, I do think if you want to bet this fight, Dern is definitely the fighter with a better risk to reward ratio. But this is one of those fights where both girls, I feel, have extreme advantages in the area that the other is weak. Like Ansarov's doing a really good job of just circling away from Gadea here and chipping away with the jab. But even there, she gives up a weak takedown. Look, I know Dern doesn't have that kind of drive on her takedown entries that Gadea has. She doesn't have the same physicality as Gadea on those takedown entries. But we have repeatedly seen Ansarov give up weak takedowns. And remember, it's not just the takedown that you need to worry about, Dern. You know, she's rolling for legs. She's, you know, trying to bait you into giving you back up so she can take the back. You know, she is creative with it, right? And I feel that Ansarov is perhaps not as streetwise as she needs to be, you know, in order to ensure this fight doesn't end up in grappling positions. It's tricky, man. It is tricky. Look, you can't, you know, if you're on Dern, you can't sugarcoat things, right? Her offensive wrestling, straight up bad. Striking, she's very reckless. But if you're on Ansarov, you can't sugarcoat the fact that her takedown offense isn't great. And more notably, if you do get Ansarov to the ground, she's very, very easy to control. And we're talking about Ansarov going up against, you know, probably the highest level grappler in the strawweight division. Maybe in the history of women's MMA, right? Dern is like the Damian Maia of women's MMA. So, when you throw the X factors into the mix as well, Ansarov, 35 years old, 7 years older than Dern, coming in on a 2-year layoff. Just had a baby 6 months ago. Dern is the right side to be on. This is definitely dog or pass. I feel quite strongly when I say that. But definitely a lot of risk with Dern as well. Because if Ansarov can keep the fight standing, and there's a reasonably good chance she can, Dern's going to be in a lot of trouble. So hard to find a strong position on this fight. I think passing's probably the smartest thing to do. But anyway, getting to this third round. It starts at 13 minutes 39. Let's get it going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So what we're going to do, guys, is we are going to finish watching this round, and then I will take a 5-10 minute break, and we'll come right back and we'll research Sadiq Youssef against Arnold Allen. Hopefully we could dig up a bet on that fight. Let's take a look at the odds. They're in that even money odds range as well, right? Money coming in on Perry. Yeah, they kind of are in that even money odds range. So we'll have to fish for a bet for the even money experiment as well. So Dern is saying that he would go small on Dern if he was confident that the broken nose wouldn't affect her. Do you know what, mate? I don't think it will. I do understand JB's concern on that, but if we're going with what is more likely, I think the way Dern came out in round 3 against Jandiroba, where she was still coming forward, walking onto that jab at Jandiroba, I think Dern's reaction to the broken nose in round 3 is a sign that she's going to bounce back just fine. Obviously, it's a massive assumption. No one knows for sure. But in terms of probabilities, I think it's more likely Dern's gonna bounce back okay. Just based on the fact that she still bit down on her mouthpiece in round 3, came forward, did what she needed to do to win, even though Jandiroba was landing some clean hard jabs on that nose in round 3. And remember, Dern did wobble Jandiroba in round 3, and one of the reasons why she wobbled her is because she was still bullish enough and aggressive enough to just come forward and land one of those big looping right hooks, right? I will say this, Ansarov doesn't do a particularly good job of putting her stamp on rounds. She's very pretty with her style, the way she kind of circles away and stays behind the jab, but doesn't do too much damage. Doesn't do a particularly good job of putting his stamp on rounds, especially considering Gadea's been pretty tired since the end of this first round and has looked quite flat. You'd expect Ansarov to have done a lot more damage, to leave a much bigger impression on the judges' scorecards, and I feel what she has done. Spiz is saying, but if she is super aggressive and blitzes forward, how will that work for Nina? I don't really think... I think it could cause... I know Spiz is alluding to Ansarov being able to cause Dern problems, counter-striking that aggressive blitzing style. I don't think so. I think if Dern does come in aggressive, I think she's going to cause Ansarov problems, because I don't think Ansarov's got the power in her hands to back Dern up. So I think I agree with Materni here. I think if Dern does come in, with reckless abandon and just blitzes forward in straight lines, throwing those windmill punches, I think she could cause Ansarov some trouble. I don't see Ansarov as one of these girls that's a particularly effective counter striker. Doesn't really have much power in her hands. She's staying behind the jab here, but we know Dern's more than willing to walk through that. Hiltzy is thinking about betting on Dern to win inside the distance. Ansarov definitely has one of those styles, right, where she is going to struggle to leave a lasting impression on the judges, like struggle to put a big stamp. I feel like one big blitzing attack from Dern or one big takedown is going to negate a lot of this volume striking quite easily. We know how judges, we know how judges can be, right? They love big moments. Mary is saying that Dern's been working a lot on strength and conditioning lately, so she might be more physically imposing against Nina, while Nina's returning from a layoff after giving birth. That's a really good point, Mary. That's a great point. Daniel Rodriguez, man, you have got to go. You're way too confrontational, man. Mate, this is I will say this, because Daniel Rodriguez is the second person that I will have had to have banned from YouTube tonight. And Rodriguez and the other dude, I can't even remember his name, Bunny or something, right? Rodriguez and Bunny have just... What I would say, guys, right? Like, I'm 37 years old, man. A lot of the guys in my community are grown up. mature. You know, there's a lot of, you know, really good discussion in the YouTube chat. You know, good discussion on my website. Like, this isn't like a game. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're all here to make money. We're all here to learn. One of the benefits of researching these fights collectively as a group is it's very hard for us to miss key details. There's about 100 people watching this stream. And so with everyone, you know, putting thoughts out there, sharing information, it's really hard for us to get researching a fight wrong, because that wisdom of crowds, having 100 people watching the same thing, is going to mean more often than not we're all going to be on the correct side, right? So, you know, everyone on my website, you know, throwing out great information, great perspectives, great opinions. Everyone on YouTube doing the same thing, you know what I mean? You know, Mary's just let us know about how hard Dern's been working on her strength and conditioning. That's something I didn't know. You know, JB, someone else, I think it was Aldo, I can't quite remember, but he let us know earlier on that Perry's now working, you know, at MMA Masters. That's something we might not have known. This is all information we can use to build a, you know, a really good picture of, you know, which way the fight is more likely to play out. I don't understand why, you know, Daniel Rodriguez, I'm talking to you, and the other jabroni that I banned from YouTube earlier on, when we've got all of us working together, we're mature, we're grown up, we're all here for one purpose, we're all here to learn, we're all here to make money. I don't see why you would take time out of your evening on a Tuesday evening when there's 1,000 better things you could be doing to come here and disrespect MMA Locker Room. I don't know who MMA Locker Room is. I've never spoken to him before. We're not friends or anything like that. I don't know anything about this guy. But MMA Locker Room has contributed positively to the YouTube chat all night, dropping good knowledge, sharing good opinions, you know, giving real positive energy out there. And all you've done is shoot him down and be a total dickhead. So, fucking do better, man. Do better. Stop being a prick. Be more positive. And, you know, just fucking be a better human being. You know? MMA Locker Room's come out of his way tonight to drop positive vibes in the chat. Be positive. Share knowledge. Share information. And all you're doing is shooting him down. Why are you being a dick? You gotta go, dude. Like, this is a grown-up, mature community. No dickheads allowed. Strong, no dickhead, no troll community, man. You gotta go. Just do better, dude. Do fucking better. Anyway, with that out the way, we're done for this live stream. What I would say about this fight is I do heavily lean towards Dern. I think if you want to bet this fight, Dern is the fighter with a much better risk to reward ratio. But because her offensive wrestling's so bad, because Ansarov's very good at stuffing that initial takedown entry, I wouldn't feel comfortable betting Dern at around even money odds. I don't think it's a great deal, but I do think if you really want to bet this fight, it is Dern or pass. But, you know, it is not going to be easy to get Ansarov to the ground. What I will say is, you know, catching those kicks, turn them into a takedown, that's a big part of the victory for Dern. What I would also say is, Dern's making big improvements. Ansarov's likely to be declining. And what I would also say on top of that is, Ansarov is quite difficult to get down, but very easy to keep down. So it's an interesting fight, man. Let's just scroll through these comments and then we'll be done. We'll be right back, though. We'll get into Yusuf versus Alan. No quad. It will be getting set up very soon, dude. But there are basically I've had no content to put on there, right, which is why I haven't created the article yet. But now that we're going to have content after this fight research stream, I'll create it later on tonight. But we have already got some bets for this card and some other cards in the lab, and also the betting tips page. So check out the betting tips page in the lab, dude. You'll find some bets in there, mate. The turn's going to go 1 unit Dern. Paul saying, yeah, I agree, dude. I agree. I just don't get these people. The waste, like, go fucking learn something, man. Just go learn the language, learn a new skill. You know, learn to play a musical instrument. Like, why the fuck you would come on YouTube on a Tuesday night and make fun of people? I just don't get it. You know, I've got absolutely no time for it. Not my type of person at all. About as far away from my type of guy as you can get. It's crazy to me. Nice one, Quad. Alright, yeah, nice one. I think that's going to be it. I think that is going to be it. Stuart Flynn, there's always going to be a couple of fuckwits. I agree, dude. It's not good, right? The Coach Bacon saying there'll always be internet trolls. True, dude, but we have to get rid of them. You know what I mean? We have to get rid of them because they just disrupt things. I've noticed that since Daniel Rodriguez started attacking MMA Locker Room, MMA Locker Room's disappeared now. You know what I mean? He's not on the stream anymore, which is a shame because I'd much rather have MMA Locker Room in the chat, you know, contributed him positively than a dickhead like Daniel Rodriguez. Oh, he's nice when MMA Locker Room's back. But my problem is, the problem is, right, these dickheads that just troll people online, you know, MMA Locker Room might have thought, fuck this, I'm not going to take this anymore, I haven't got to prep with this on a Tuesday night, I'm just going to leave. And then MMA Locker Room leaves, and, you know, we end up replacing a good dude like MMA Locker Room with a dickhead like Daniel Rodriguez. That's why zero tolerance on these trolls. They have to go because it turns off good people, and we just want good people, you know. Early mornings, you lean in, Dern or Nina? Definitely Dern, mate, but not a strong position by any means, man. All right. Nice one, guys. So what I'm going to do, I'll take a 5-10 minute break, and then I'll be right back, and we'll get into this Yusuf versus Allen fight, which could be a good one, but I don't know if there's going to be much footage on Yusuf's defensive wrestling. Maybe there will be. Andre Philly's got quite a good, decent double leg, right? Very good timing on his double leg, so maybe we will get to see a bit of Yusuf's takedown defense. Anyway, nice one for watching.